Good morning, good morning, good morning. Where are we all here? Looks live, green, audio up, check, looks good. Okay, bit of a mixed bag this morning. We're going to be doing some print embossing. And we're going to be working on some more of the color blocks for this. This came back from our Carver Colors exam yesterday. So we'll be doing some work on the color separations for this, I think. But first. But first, we've got people waiting. Embossing. Meow, yes, don't talk to me about meow. What did I do with the prints? Where it upside down. So many great ways exist. I'm the luckiest guy in town. I'm not tired of cats, I'm tired of substandard cats. It's okay. We need volume to be able to find the gems. It's okay. That's what they do when they go mining for diamonds, right? They dig out tons of earth and find a few diamonds inside it. So, okay, you know what I'm doing here this morning. It's time to emboss some great waves. I haven't actually checked these. There's going to be some that have marks and chitty. I've got to do that later under the microscope. But right now, I just got to get them embossed. They're all sold already, of course. The waiting list has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on it. What should I do here? Let's put it upside down. An in tray and an out tray. Okay, what have we got happening today? Today's Wednesday, middle of the week. I'll be here myself today. There's nobody dropping in. Cameron is still on vacation over in America. Kiddo won't be here. Nobody else will be here. Just me. Somewhere around 9:20 or so, the staff will start to arrive, of course. There's a couple of parties today. We've had very, very quiet party schedule recently, but there are a couple today. And tomorrow, I think we're almost full. So even though it is a quiet season for us, there's still lots of activity. The shop itself is quiet. Just check what I'm doing here. I'm going to get a Yamamoto. That's this one. Looks good. Okay. Double check. Okay, let's get this up and on the road. Moistening, in an ideal situation, the printer himself would be doing this, and he would be doing it while the paper is still moist. Both Kubota-san and Yamamoto-san, they're kind of old-fashioned craftsmen here, and they think, we don't need our names on this, it's okay. So I have to do it when it gets back from them. But because it's already dry, I just moisten that corner just a tad, enough to give the embossing a bit of tooth here. Actually, they say they don't want it on. They're just lazy, I think, because it's like another extra printing step, which from their minds they're not going to get paid for. So whatever. Let me see it. Does it show? I can find the right spot on the camera. Find the right angle. No, it's not showing, is it? You have to zoom in, I guess. For those of you who've never seen this before, you can see it now, right? Here's the embossing now. And it's three things. It's Katsuko Hokusai, picture by Katsuko Hokusai. Hori Buru Davido, the carving by David Wall. And the printing, in this case, Yamamoto Shun, Suri Yamamoto Shun. As we see, before the name's gone, quality goes in before the name's gone. So I need an out tray. Hang on a sec. Okay, there's an out box. We'll do there. Okay, let's get rolling. Questions, paper out? Yes, paper is out. There's 3 out today. Dei-chan's working on a Yokai face-off back number. Ishikawa-san's working on the July print in this year's subscription series, Japan Journey. And Sugu-san is doing some Benkei-bashi prints from the old Doi Hamra blocks. Terrible, terrible worn-out set of blocks, but they actually make decent prints still. So those 3 girls are working upstairs today. We'll be working upstairs today. Who got the nod to make the second round of drawings? I was going to do those emails yesterday, or the first batch of them. It's going to be an ongoing process. I was going to do it yesterday, but I got sidetracked. I'm sorry. I actually took a sort of a day off yesterday. And, I was going to write to those people, asking them to move forward on the cat project. But I didn't do it yesterday, so I'm going to try enough time today. Yesterday was a software day. It's interesting. Over the last week, I've been doing Cameron's work. You know, the subscription, management and whatever stuff like this, order entry subscription. And I used to do that myself up until a year and a half ago when Cameron came along. And in the year and a half since then, he's done it by himself, and I haven't been involved with it. So when I went back, I've been doing that job this week as I've gone back to do it. It's really strange to me. I actually had to learn how to do this all over at the beginning. And I found a bunch of things in our software that to me seemed clumsy. Like, why are we doing it this way? Why is the software written this way? I had done it naturally myself over the years, but after being away for it for a year and a half, coming back to it cold, I can see a bunch of things that are not, there's got to be an easy way to do this, stuff like that. So yesterday was a programming day. I rewrote some of the modules for the software setup, for the subscription setup. To make the workflow a bit easier. So Cameron-san should be actually pretty happy when he gets back. Yeah, if you would have a chance for the cats, say, we're just starting. This is going to go on for a long, long, long time. At the rate that I'm getting wonderful images, it's going to go on a lot longer than the 2 or 3 months. I originally said it would be June, July, and August. We're looking for designs, but the number of spectacular images I've found have been pretty few and far between. So this is not going to end pretty soon. We'll get it started as scheduled. You know, the first one will start carving in September and stuff like that. I'll be asking people to move to stage 2 soon, but there's no way this is nearly complete. No way. The cat project is going to be going on for quite some time. It may end up being a year or whatever. I have no idea. So don't in any way think that you've missed it. We'll be doing an update video or something soon. But having said that, you think about your image really carefully. Why is there a cat there? Don't just copy and paste the cat into a scene. There's got to be a reason for the cat to be in it. Why is there a cat in this image? And then on top of that, of course, it's got to reference the themes. Evening snow or whatever it is. And so many of the entries, it's just a cat. There's no reason for the cat to be there. Next year's subscription series. We've been talking about that on and off here on the stream. Because we're sold out, it's obviously a really, really interesting, pleasant theme that a lot of people like. We're sold out and we have a waiting list now of well over 100 people to get on. So given that, it looks like we've got, an interesting concept. The easy way out is just to call it, okay, next year we'll do part 2, book 2. But, like sequels, if Hollywood could do it, local Hong Kong can do it. But we don't want to make it routine, just do the same thing again. I know our printers have been practicing this kind of stuff for a year now. Jed has got stretched out on this kind of stuff. We don't just want to extend it through laziness. Jed and I were chatting about this on Skype the other day. Dave Originals, it won't be Dave Originals, or whatever else we're thinking about, that's at the bottom of the list, believe me. Jed and I were thinking about it the other day, there's something specific about this year's series in that they are places. It's realistic art, realistic design. There's nothing abstract about it. You see buildings, you see people, you see trees, you see objects. But they are actually completely, imaginary. For the most part, they are scenes that didn't exist. The first one in the series is a real thing. It's Sensoji, the entrance to Sensoji Temple. And the other ones are all realistic, but not real. So one idea on the table, and this is far from being decided, this is just an idea on the table. One idea on the table is to go back to what they used to do in the Edo time and do a series of meisho, famous places. In other words, a series like we started this year with the first one, but keep all the images of actual real places, recognizable places. And there's a big merit and a big demerit to doing that. From the merit side, and we hear this in the shop every day, people come in, browse, they look for a few things, and they say, do you have a print of, and then they name some place where they've been on their travels around Japan. It might be Mount Fuji, it might be Miyajima, that's a common one. Inland Sea is another one. Hakuba, whatever, where they were skiing. You get the idea. They want a representational print of a place that they've actually been. And in this year's series, we've only done that really, twice, I guess. The first one and the second one were like that. Although we weren't planning it. We never planned it to be a series of prints about real places. Sort of coincidentally enough, that's how it got started that way. So as I said, that's one idea for next year's series. The merit is clear. But there's a real demerit. Jed's here. So. Yeah, when I say real place, I mean real recognizable. People say, that's it, that's that place, that's there. Jed's here, it's good, so you can join in. The demerit, as we were saying, if we decided to do this, then from Jed's point of view, he's in a handcuff. If you're going to make a view of a famous place, there it is. That line has to be here, that line has to be there, that's got to be there. It's got to look recognizable. And that's a kind of handcuffs for Jed, the way he's doing it this year. If he doesn't like that tree there, move it. No building there, move it. Make up a building, do what you want. And after chatting with Jed about this on Skype the other day, we've been bashing this around back and forth quite a while. After chatting with it, I was talking to staff about this, what's going to happen next year. We were talking about this idea about doing a May show, famous places. And someone said, that's great, Jed should come over and travel around and blah, 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 blah. And I guess Jed's just mentioning here, he has a family and all that stuff and a job. And it's not so easy to spend a year or whatever it is running around Japan, So somebody said, no problem, just do a Kickstarter. Do a Kickstarter for the thing next year. And the Kickstarter will, quote, pay for Jed to come over here. And I don't think it wasn't money that's the problem. Jed's got kids and whatever, And people are going to say, sure, just go to Google, go to Google, go to Google. Well, that's okay. You go to Google, you can get a photograph or a million photographs, but you're not there. You can't feel it, If Jed wants to draw pictures of a place, it's not just a photocopy from Google. You sit there at the place and you drink the air, you feel the mood, you watch the people, you experience it. Anyway, as I said, it's just an idea at this point. We're just passing it back and forth to see, the ideas on the table. We sit there and see what happens. If anybody else here has any other ideas about this for next year, how we could sort of do the same thing but not the same thing, and put your ideas on the table, let's see. Yeah, the interesting point Jed's talking about here, we get this with the shin hanga all the time. In the early 20th century, the print publishers here, Watanabe and Doi Hanga and stuff, they fell into a real sort of, is it a trap or whatever? They made these exotic images of the trend. There's Mount Fuji, there's this. It was the early shin hanga prints. They were drop dead beautiful, but they became just, to be really critical, you could say they became schlock. They just became postcard schlock. I've talked about this all the time. For years I've talked about this. It's so easy to just make pretty stuff. That's why I was so excited when Jed sent me the image for the first one this year. This is a year ago now, when Jed sent me the image of the entrance to Senzoji Temple, the one that's the first print in this year's series. I just jumped up and down in my seat. I didn't edit it, didn't change it, didn't say anything. Just said, let's do this, let's do this. Because it's got the cool things. It's got the beautiful appearance, the semi-exotic stuff, and yet it was interesting as art, not just a standard postcard. There's the mountain, there's the overhanging tree, there's the snow, there's the blue sky, bang, It's an interesting line to find between the two. Yeah, so I get Jed's feeling here. The more we push it towards Meisho or something like this, the more chance there is of just falling into pretty postcards. I get it. And it's easy for me to say, but okay, that's no problem. That's Jed's job. Make it not happen that way. And remember too, it's all happening on a production schedule. Once you get this thing going, there's one print. 4 weeks later, another one. 4 weeks later, another one. You can't just play with sketches and let them sit for 6 years and figure out what needs to be changed. It's a production schedule. So you've got to go, 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 go. And it may not sound like much, one print each month. All Jed's got to do is find one good design each month. It sounds easy. It's not. You ask him. He's here. He can tell you about it. It's tough. It's really tough. Oh, Finland, Finland. Somebody's mentioning Finland. How did that come up? Is Marco here today? Am I missing something? We were talking about our font designer friend, Marco. Pronouncing his name wrong, I don't know. I can't tell from the usernames. I don't even know how to pronounce the name, actually. Marco-san, are you here today? Is this you from Finland? Speak up if you're here, please. Or not, whatever. Okay, sorry, no problem then. I was just guessing when I saw Finland there, I thought it might be you, so no problem. I thought it might be this gentleman. Okay, no problem. In that case, it's okay to do this. All right, if I was afraid of matching up a name and a handle name, but if that's not Marco-san, then good. Okay, let me show something then. It's sidetracked from this job just for a minute here. Sidetrack, just a minute. Going back, was it 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago? Quick, we looked at some of these books. We were talking about the Chittimen books. This is an update on something here. We were talking about these books which were made with crepe paper covers, and the books themselves inside were made from a combination of woodblock and text. And some of the books I showed you, the text was printed in metal type, but this particular set of books that I showed you, the text was all actually carved and printed. The lettering you're seeing here was drawn with a brush and then pasted onto wood and then carved. So this is woodblock printed English text. And what we were explaining is at the time was to do this, the publisher of these books, a gentleman called, where's the title page here, excuse me, a gentleman called Hasegawa, who published them, Takejiro Hasegawa. He published these in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, and you can perhaps see the embossing. All of this was carved on wood and then printed. So having seen this last week, 2 weeks ago, I forget, we were chatting about this, I said, boy, I would like to have this font. I want to use this font, the Hasegawa font. Long story short, the young man from Finland who had been watching that evening or watching the replay of it, he knows about making fonts. He has font building software. He's interested in this, so he made an ABCD, whatever, sent it to me and said, what should we do about this? And I jumped up and down. I just jumped up and down, up and down, up and down. Long story short, he is now actually doing this. He is making this thing as an actual font. I think it's coming out in, what do you call it, OTF, open type format or something like this, whatever. He's making the thing. He's doing bit by bit by bit. I sent him a bunch of scanned copies of the pages of this book, all different pages. We tried to find pages with different A's, B's, and C's in it, stuff like that. And he's been using that source material to make an actual real font for using on computers. And he's partway through this. It's still going to be weeks and weeks and weeks away. And how we're going to distribute it and stuff like that. One thing he's thinking about is that maybe we do a simple version for free for everybody to use, and then he'll make a full professional version with 1 million glyphs and stuff like that. It's still undecided. But at the moment, there's a test version running. I can't give it to you. He's still working on this thing, but let me show you a screenshot here of an email that he sent me yesterday with the font involved. And this is not carved and printed. This is an actual email using what he's done so far on this Hasegawa font. And this is just, I don't have enough words for this. This is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. So this is coming down the pipe. He's working through this. He seems to be a really delicate, super careful kind of person who wants to get the lettering adjusted to the actual level of perfection. I just can't believe it. If you look at the third paragraph here, hello Dave, I bet right now. You can see what he's done, the GH are made as a ligature. So when you have a standard G somewhere else, it looks like one thing, and when you have an H, it looks like another thing. And when you put the G and H together, they are connected together. And they're all over the place. He's built lots and lots of these. There's a double O, there's a TH, and he wants to make different variations of all this. This is just, I have no words for how excited I am about this and how much this is so cool. So it was really a nice combination of things. We happened to show the book one day when that young man happened to be watching, and he said, wow, let's do this. And we're going to do this. So maybe he didn't want me to show this. He said, please don't let people download it yet because he's still building it, but I think we can show what's coming down the pipe. So anyway, that's coming up. I was hoping the young man would be here and he could talk about this. He has done an absolutely spectacular job. I'm not a font professional. There's lots of stuff about fonts I don't understand. The kerning, always have trouble with this, leading and everything else. And some of the stuff we publish here on our own things, a font designer would look and say, oh my God, what has Dave done? You know, even the sign outside our shop has bad kerning in it. Whatever, there's a level that you can do without being professional. And this young man seems to be a total professional. I think it's okay if I share his URL. He's got a public web page. Here's his web page. This Hasegawa font is not mentioned on that page at this point. But once this is up and running, we will be preparing a download page. Anyway, that's his website. He's done other font designs and more information as we learn. But this is on the way. I'm just so happy about this. Anyway, back to work. Dave, get some work done. There's a thing about that font too that has come apparent over the past couple of weeks as we've been working on this. In the world of fonts and illustrations, there's a font that would be good for body text, like the stuff we've known all our lives, the Times Roman or whatever. It's good for lines and lines and lines of text, so you can read it easily. Then some fonts are much better for things like display or headlines or a single word or a logo or something like that. They're more decorative and they're more, frilly and whatever. This one seems to work both ways. I just showed you that letter. It was totally, absolutely readable. And yet he sent me another file with just sort of headings and stuff, and it looks great. So really, it's one of those fonts that seems to play both ways. And it was designed like in the 1890s. When I say designed, it might have been just some woman or somebody who he got young ladies who lived in Tokyo to do the translations of his books into English and stuff like that. I forget her name, the young lady he got to do this. I don't know. And then at the same time, when he was looking for this font, so I guess he probably got one of these people that he knew, the young ladies or men in the foreign community at that time. He got them to brush out this lettering. I don't really know the origins of it. It's not documented, of course. So we're going to call it Hasegawa because it's his name, but we have no idea who really actually drew it for him. I mean, not much left. I think we have about half a dozen left here, so then we'll move on to different work. We're not going to be doing this all morning, don't worry. It's a bit boring. I don't know. Next step up is carving. I think actually we've probably got some noisy carving today, I'm not sure. It's a bit of an overcast morning today. I'm not sure what the weather forecast is. We're in the rainy season, so we can't complain about anything. It looks like it might be a nice day, you know. When it's really sunny, it's starting to get a bit too hot here. The other day was really, really hot. But today being overcast, it shouldn't be so bad. Is that what it said? Various Japanese designers or whatever? He doesn't put, there's no designers' names. Here we are. There was it. Illustrated by Japanese artists. They show the people that get the translation. Well, they're good. Charlotte, that's the girl's name. So I mentioned about that before. The translation. Illustrated by Japanese artists. You're the only one who noticed. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I don't know, come on, if we're going to play that game, then we can think about all the famous ukiyo-e prints of the past, right? We know the name of the drawer, the guy who drew it, Hokusai. You know what I'm going to say next, of course. What about the carvers and printers, you know? So if you want to play that game, I'm in with you. Oh, that was the last one. Done. Okay, move on. Here's where I dropped my batch. Okay, good. So later on today, those have to go under the scope. In fact, it's going to take me most of the day today when it's not a print party. I'm going to put them under the scope. There's lots of bark scraps and stuff like that in the paper. They've got to be checked. Literally, we check microscopically before they get sent off to collectors, customers, friends, whatever. Microscopically checked. And am I going to lose? I'll lose 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those because of the problems with the paper. The bark scrap is just in the wrong place in the middle of a white wave and stuff like this. Okay, next step up is we've got a bit of carving to do. Where are my blocks? You saw the other day, where were we at? We were carving, where is it? My block. Yeah, here we are. We're carving on the owl for the share certificate. So let me get in this. Where are we now? 8:40, about halfway through. About time for Cameron to show up. I don't think he's going to be here. Pretty long commute this morning. He's in, I think he's in Indiana somewhere, off with his family. That's sharp, yeah, it's okay. All right, good. Here we are. Time for some real work. Okay, we've got a very small amount of knife carving here, and then it's going to be, I'm sorry, it's going to be a bit noisy because I have to clear around the outside of this. It's going to be a bit of hammering, a bunch of persuading for 10, 15 minutes. So. There's more construction down the street, you know, the udon shop, tempura shop at the corner that way when you walk towards Don Quixote. The first sub-corner, before you get to Don Quixote, the first sub-corner, there's a little old temper shop on the right-hand side. And it's old and dirty, and it's got to be rat-infested, and I would never set foot in that place. And they're gutting it. I came in on this morning, and I saw the shutters are up, and they're gutting it and ripping stuff out. So they're renovating it and rebuilding it. Oh, another one I saw last night too. I went out for dinner. When I came back along, I came back through the arcade here, and there's a shoe shop in there called Heartland Shoes. It's run by an old couple, and I don't know the background story here, but I just see it as a consumer walking along the street. It's an arcade with shops on both sides, and some shops put a little bit of stuff outside their shop, and another shop across the street might put a little bit of stuff outside. And there's sort of a rule, I'm sure they've got very strict rules, you can't come more than 50 centimeters out with your display cabinets and stuff like this. And this particular couple have come halfway, and they've been like that ever since I've been here in Saxa. They come literally halfway out to the street. Now if the other guy did that, that's it, the street's blocked, we can't go anywhere. But because the people around them have just given up, thrown up their hands in disgust at this, that company brings their stuff out onto the sidewalk. Everybody else is forced around, you can't see anything, nobody buys anything there. It's just extremely selfish behavior that's really not so common here. Anyway, long story short, I was walking last night back from dinner and it's gone. The shutters have been ripped off in the middle of the shop. The shoes are all gone out somewhere, and there's workmen there jackhammering the floor, ripping it out. And there's a big sign that says new business opening June the 26th. What is it now? It's now June the 19th. So they got 1 week. They must be on a 1 week schedule, starting the ripping out to opening a new. And what it's going to be is it's going to be a mameske cafe. And they've got pictures of a little Shiba Inu and a mame, little tiny Shiba dogs, and there's going to be a cafe there. And oh my God, whatever. The shoe store that was there before was of no interest to me, but this place it's no interest to me either, but it's going to be dynamite. You're going to have people lined up around and around and around the block. Mameske. I'll see if I can find the link later. If you Google for it, whatever. What were they calling it? Mameske Cafe. Mameske something Inu. I can't remember the title. I'll walk by there again at lunchtime, so I'm going to take a look at it. Anyway, opening the 26th of June, right around the back from local Hong Kong. And before I do this, they touch base. Where are you carving? This is going to be, the tree is going to be carved on the top of the owl. Okay. So this particular block we're doing here is a darker tone on the owl. It'll be a darker beige brown. It'll be on the wood, and it'll also be on the surrounding parts of the owl. School group going by. Middle school, high school? Not sure. Middle school or high school. Have there been maps made in Japan? Oh my God, thousands and thousands and millions of them. In the old days, this was the printing business, mokohanga, of making woodblock prints. That was the printing business. So for all those years, from like the 1600s up until when the presses arrived in the late 1800s, everything was made with woodblock, everything. So yeah, maps, games, we're going to talk about some of these things in upcoming episodes of David's Choice. We have restaurant menus from the old days that are printed in woodblock. Everything was woodblock prints, everything. And maps were a big deal. And in fact, the researchers, the people who talk about the history of woodblock prints and stuff from a technical point of view, they point to maps as being among the earliest examples of color printing. And I would sort of subscribe to that theory that the invention of color printing came from maps. Again, don't quote me because I have no documentary evidence on this, but the earliest woodblock was black and white. Then they passed that out to people for painting on colors by hand. No problem. It was a cottage industry, part of the business doing that. And then maps were a big business. You'd publish a map of old Tokyo or whatever, and somebody sits there and colors on the rivers blue by hand. And then at some point, somebody figured out, look, let's do the blue water with a piece of wood, just the same as we're printing the black. We're printing the black from wood, let's print the blue from wood. And some kid in the workshop says, okay, look, how are we going to do this? We've got to cut the paper square at one corner, line it up with the edge of the wood or something. So they do it. They cut the paper at one corner square, line it up with the edge of the wood, cut a piece of wood for the river, cut, I don't know where you go. And then they would have discovered in a few minutes of trying this that it's a little bit difficult to hold the paper and put it on the edge of the wood and get things lined up. So next step, one of the guys who's printing says, okay, tell you what, instead of putting it on the edge of the paper, let's cut this little notch here into the wood itself. That'll make it easy for me to hold the paper and put it down here. And bang, there you go. The rest is history. It doesn't need a lot of imagination. And they've got lots of these maps, early woodblock printed maps with the blue rivers printed. Is it one ear out and one ear in, this brown block? Really? Let me go and have a look at the original. I've got it. Hang on a second. Yeah, one ear's on the brown and one ear's not. Okay, fair enough. Just wanted to check before I cut wood. Harajuku Mame Shiba Cafe. Maybe that's the same chain. Who knows? Could be a chain. But the sign said clearly Mame Shiba. In fact, that's it. Mame Shiba Cafe. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Obi-san, good morning, good morning, good morning. Early. What? Not even 9 o'clock yet. You're so eager to come here and see me. Good, thank you.
Best Cameron's not here, right?
No, not at all, no. We were just chatting on the stream here about the new cafe opening up next week. There's in the arcade behind us,
Yeah.
there's one place where there's a shoe store where they really push their stuff out too far into the arcade. When you're walking along, there's shoes. They pushed it out almost really halfway, just before you get to Orange Door.
Yeah.
They are history.
That's why they pushed him.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it has a collection or they retired or got old or whatever. I have no idea. But anyway, they're gone. I came back from dinner last night and the shutter is ripped off. There's workmen jackhammering the floor, ripping everything out. The shoes are gone. There's a big sign that says opening June 26th. The June 26th. It's 1 week away and it's Mame Shiba Cafe.
With dogs?
All I know is the sign. There's a picture of two dogs, Mame
Another
Ske and a
pet
little Inu
cafe.
Shiba. Well, it doesn't say cats, it just says Mame Shiba Cafe.
Yeah. Wow. So you'll be reporting from the cafe.
Yeah, right. So. And also the camera is on the road. People saw you come in. This camera, in fact, just now you were standing in front of the camera.
Yes, that's right. It's your security camera. Security camera.
Security camera, right, that's right. If someone comes in to assassinate me, the record will be there.
Should I wait to open the shutter?
It's up to you, whatever. I didn't clean up anything yet.
It's for you. I always worry it will change the light when you.
No. So who's in today? It's Shiba-san and Evelyn? Okay. Yeah. Two parties, ne?
Okay.
Tomorrow's tough. Okay, let's zoom out a bit here. We're going to make some noise now and the way around it. The quiet part of this block making is finished. I'm not going to bang for half an hour here, but I'll bang for a couple minutes around the edges to clear a bit. Which one should I do? Let's come around this one a bit. I'll bang for a few minutes here and then we'll do some clearing off. And again, for people that have never seen this before, every day there seems to be new people, carving these blocks is always a three-stage process. Step one is with the knife. As you saw, I cut the lines of the design with this tool. It does all of the particular piece we're dealing with. Stage one is to cut the lines. Stage two, which you're going to see now, is the noisy part. We're going to use larger chisels to scoop away the oceans. We're going to leave a landmass. We want to take away the oceans. The larger chisels do this. That's stage two. And the final step, stage three, we'll be using smaller chisels to just clean up the edge of the landmass, like the continental shelf here, between the land and the sea. So always, traditional Japanese prints, three-stage process. The stage two is noisy, and I'm going to get to it right now. Take about 5 minutes. Are there any other woodblock artists on our street? I don't know. There's no artists on this street. I'm not sure what you mean. If you mean shops that sell woodblocks, there's one in the next block. They've been here for over 100 years. In the district, they haven't been in the next block for 100 years. And they do a mix. They do woodblock prints. They don't publish anything. They do old originals / modern copies. They get a photocopy machine, run off copyright-free prints, and sell them in their shop. And they also make postcards and stuff, which we don't do. Anyway, let me get quiet for a minute. I'm going to make some noise here. Excuse me for a few minutes. That's one of the girls from the kimono shop next door, and it's the community notice board running around. There will be notices about this. The next cleanup day is Tuesday, the 7th of July, and stuff like this. We read it, take note of what we need to take note of, and then we pass it down to the next people in line next door. You think that was noisy? Now it's going to get noisy because I'm switching up to a larger chisel here. That's one of the garbage trucks, a private garbage truck. Not the city garbage, it's maybe for the oyster shack next door, I'm not sure. It's pretty close. Okay, a bit more noise now. Bigger chisel, really noisy. I'm going to clear away from the edge here. Excuse me about this. You are warned. This is the one that moves my bench so that it bangs the camera. Sorry about the noise, but this is a woodwork shop. Sometimes we need to do this. Registration mark here. Is the paper okay, Audrey-san? I didn't look at it, I'm sorry. Touch it with this one. I still haven't got the video finished, the one about those French books last week, you know, I showed you, so.
I can't wait.
I think it's a message for Audrey-san here. Message for Audrey-san, a question for you here.
Me? Another Audrey?
No, message for Audrey.
For me. For me.
Oh, no, I updated the party calendar, it's okay.
Thank you.
Backwards brain. Did you write parties on? Because some of them are cancelled already. I mean,
I was looking and couldn't see Lucas. Instead.
okay. Yeah, hang on a second. Because a couple of people, they made a reservation, then later they cancel it by mail. So don't just write them in, because
Okay,
some of
I
them have
will.
already been cancelled.
Okay.
Suzanne, good morning, good morning.
Upstairs.
Yes.
No?
My
I think that's enough noisy for now.
I thought maybe it's this.
Did you lose one of the yen?
Pardon
Did you
me?
lose one of the yen?
No? Okay. Just
Put it in opinion popular.
Nej,
Voilà.
såg du här uppe?
Upstairs, yeah. In the shop, not outside.
No.
Upstairs.
Have you already finished?
No.
Okay, here we go. Stage 3 now, of course. As we mentioned many times before, there's roughness now on the bottom here. And if we leave this, then later on, while we are printing, we're putting pigment on the top of these areas, the pigment catches and stuff in these rough areas. And it builds up and builds up and builds up, and sometimes presses on the paper. So for people that are just making a few copies of each print, a lot of modern artists, they're just going to make 10 copies and throw it away. They don't bother about this, they don't care. But we're making lots and lots and lots of copies of most of our prints. It won't be this one actually. But anyway, we need to make sure this bottom area is, it doesn't have to be glass smooth, but it's got to be free of those anything that would catch pigment. It's also a pleasure getting the bottom of this thing smooth. The finished block looks really, really nice. Just said it was going to be a nice, not so hot day, but actually I can feel already it's going to be a hot day today. So, even though it's cloudy, we're in the rainy season here, it's muggy. It's very, very muggy today. I'm sweating already. Audrey's, huh?
Yes.
I know, you put the sign up in the front window here. No, it's okay, it doesn't matter, it's okay. You moved the sign. Or you or Evelyn, and you blocked the stream. People can't see outside now, so it's okay, it doesn't matter. We're nearly finished anyway, it doesn't matter. That's why the sign is out of the way in the morning. So the camera's looking outside, they're watching the people walk by and the duck. Evelyn, it doesn't matter, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's
No,
okay.
I can put it away.
It doesn't matter, somebody's laughing here about this, it's okay.
Where should I put it?
Push it back against the door. That's great.
Well, whatever, turn it like this. It's okay, we can do it. No.
Like this?
No, maybe just so you can see, look, this is what's happened. So it blocks. So I had it turned sideways so you could see outside. That's all. I turned it sideways and pushed it against the wall. Yeah, good. Thank you. That's all. So people can see what's going on. It's no big deal. I wasn't trying to.
No, it's okay.
Come here, you can see it. Well, they can see the view.
Yeah, because it's missing so much more.
No, it's, you can laugh at the very time because a big highlight of their week is the garbage pickup.
Garbage pickup?
We do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We put the garbage out Thursday night, Friday morning. So on Friday, they get to see the guys run down the street picking up the garbage.
I'm so sorry.
What is it?
The highlight of the stream, yes?
It's one of the this
it's not about you, but about
this
the
is so
garbage
that people come to our stream so they can watch the Japanese. We're laughing about this, but as you probably understand, it's kind of different than it is in most countries. Where when I was living in Canada, these guys are slobs. As a truck comes down with a machine, and the guys have got baggy jeans and they're dirty and smoking and whatever. These guys are dressed clean. The machine is polished, and they're running down the street picking up the garbage. So for these people to see this, it's something interesting, you know. More interesting than this, I don't know. But anyway, we don't need to talk about this. What's the time? We still okay? Oh yeah, still a few more minutes here. I'll just finish this one off, I guess, and that's it. So. Every time I turn it around, more become apparent, because with the side light coming in, you can only see them from one direction. How are you doing? You guys okay? Someone's asking about Ghibli again, and we haven't been pushing that forward at all. We didn't get much of a positive response from them, so we've let it slide right now. There's a few factors. One is, even if we got permission, if they suddenly phone me today to say, okay guys, go ahead, we wouldn't be able to do it, because it would be a hugely popular thing. We just don't have the production staff here to be able to do that. So for me at the moment here, it's not something I'm actively pushing forward. in future, as we build our production facility, looking for more interesting things to do, I might explore it again. There's another factor that's come up recently. I don't know if you've seen it in the news, but finally the Ghibli people, the people who own the copyrights and stuff, they've decided to go ahead and license some people to do some kind of a theme park. I don't really know what they're doing. I suspect myself it's going to be not planned carefully. It'll be kind of disaster. But they're looking at, quote unquote, a Ghibli themed theme park here. And if you Google around for it, you'll find more information about it. And this has been thought of before, and actually it's been tried before. People have tried to get a business up and running doing this. Miyazaki-san himself tried to set up a Ghibli place in Kyushu Prefecture where underprivileged children would go and have a chance to blah blah and enjoy life in nature and stuff like this. He didn't get the financing figured out or whatever, and it didn't happen. But this one seems to be up and running. It's actually under construction somewhere. You'll find more information if you Google it. But given that there is actually a Ghibli park or something happening now, the licensing, of course, is going to be now a big deal. And they will have to clearly figure out what to do with their licensing and make decisions and do this and that. And I doubt that I can be part of that. Once the licensing for the Ghibli thing goes wide open professional, there's no way we'd be able to get in there. So I wouldn't hold your breath about that. It was an interesting idea, and maybe I wasted my time making that sample print, but whatever. So in the foreseeable future, there won't be anything happening on it from my side. If I was a betting man, I would not invest or bet in that theme park. Crappy wood here, but it's against the grain. Yeah, his son has the artwork, and we've seen that on the net before. I have no idea if there's a license for that or not, but who's going to chase it, so it doesn't matter. Hey, the Iceman sounds different today. The guy sawing the ice. I wonder if it's a different workman from the same company. there a mess there, Evelyn-san? Okay, ヨーグルトとかなんかありますか？
何？
汚いですか？
I do answer your question.
Okay.
Sorry. Is it something important?
Oh.
No? Sorry.
Okay, I think this one is pretty. Let's see. See one bit here. Good, good, good. You'll get a chance to see all three, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, all 3 steps in a block like this. So there we are. This is now ready for test printing. Registration marks are here and here, and this is going to be printed. And again, for those of you who don't quite know what's going on here, this is going to be for our, I thought I had a sample share certificate. Here we are. This is last year's share certificate for the Patreon supporters. It's inkjet printed with a woodblock mark in the middle. This year we're going to do something similar, but it's going to be our owl buddy. So we'll be printing these with our owl buddy in the middle, and then doing the rest by inkjet. David Numbers assigns them, and out they go to the share certificate supporters. That's happening over the next few days, I guess. What have we got today? Today is Wednesday. Those 2 faces are now finished, ready for tests. That's got to be cleared out. That's got to be cleared out. So maybe, I'm not sure. There'll be another stream on Friday. Maybe I'll be finishing this up. So that'll be involved more noisy work on Friday also. And that won't be enough to fill a full stream, I don't think. So we'll have to make sure we have something else backed up for me to do on Friday as well. Okay, it's 9:30, so it's time for me to get out of here. So hopefully there's been enough printmaking work here to keep you happy here. I haven't followed the conversation here. Sorry guys, I'll have a look at this when I eat lunch. I'll read back through the stream. So. The Ghibli print, some assembly required. Yeah, right. Okay, whatever. Maybe this is a business model there. Maybe not. Okay, anyway, we're out of here. I'll be off tomorrow, of course, doing other work. Friday, I'll be back here, same time, same station, with another stream. Camera's up in the same place. There'll still be no Cameron. He's off in America. Maybe there's another guest, or maybe not. Just me. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on Friday. Bye-bye for now. Let me pop that up just one more time. Look at this. This is so, so, so cool. I cannot wait to get this up on the internet so people can download it to try. We're going to do 2 versions, a version for you to use in word processors and stuff, and a version for net use. And some of our web pages will be using this font. Anyway, as I said, out of here. See you later.